The first time Commander Eli Vance saw Erebus 9, his breath caught in his throat. From the viewport of the landing vessel Odyssey, the planet hung like a wound in space, a swirling red and black sphere wrapped in violent storms and lit by lightning that flashed upward into the thin atmosphere. Every scan, every probe, every AI analysis had agreed. No known life form could survive more than 30 seconds on its surface. Temperatures fluctuated by hundreds of degrees within hours. The soil was laced with corrosive metals, and the winds could strip paint off starship hulls, and yet, humanity had come. "Welcome to the worst vacation spot in the galaxy," muttered Dr. Lena Maris beside him. She was small, sharp-eyed, with a voice that carried the weary humor of someone who had long since given up on fear. Eli smiled faintly. "Let's make it a home, then." Behind them, 50 crew members sat in silence. Engineers, biologists, terraformers, soldiers. Each had volunteered knowing that Erebus 9 had the highest planetary danger rating ever recorded, Class 15. Even the old war-torn worlds didn't rank that high. The other species of the Galactic Concord called it the Screaming World, because the planet's radio storms emitted sounds eerily close to a cry of agony. The mission was simple on paper: establish a forward colony and test adaptive life support systems. But everyone knew the truth. This was a test of humanity itself. The descent began with thunder. The atmosphere buffeted the ship so violently that even the stabilizers groaned. Electric dust clouds battered the hull. Alarms blared as heat shields glowed orange. Eli gripped the railing as the ship shook like it wanted to die. "Wind shear at 86 meters per second, cried the pilot, a young woman named Kara. "We're going sideways." "Ride it," Eli ordered calmly. "Let the storm think we're surrendering." That was humanity's oldest trick. Pretend to yield, then endure. They broke through the clouds, emerging into a sky of blood and fire. The ground below looked alive, waves of molten sand and jagged rock stretching endlessly. The ship touched down with a roar, sinking slightly into the seething soil. Silence, then the sound of the wind, a deep monstrous howl that carried through every metal plate. "Atmospheric pressure stable," Lena whispered. "At least for now. Deploy the outpost module," Eli said. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled. Not from fear, from awe. They were standing on a world that every other civilization had written off as a death sentence. Hours passed. The team worked tirelessly, erecting domes and anchoring stabilizers against the constant wind. The ground trembled with distant quakes. The storm screamed across the horizon like living things. Lena crouched near the soil scanner, her face pale in the red light. "This isn't right," she murmured. "The readings are shifting. The planet isn't just unstable, it's reactive. The surface composition is changing." Eli knelt beside her. "Like it's alive?" "Not alive," she said slowly, "but aware." They stared at the screen. The seismic waves weren't random. They pulsed in rhythm, a pattern almost like a heartbeat. That night, when the artificial lights flickered on inside the central dome, the team gathered for their first meal. The air recyclers hummed softly. The storm raged outside like an angry god, but inside the light was warm, almost comforting. Someone started to hum an old Earth tune. Another joined. Laughter followed, hesitant but real. Eli looked around at the faces. Scarred veterans, young dreamers, quiet thinkers, and felt a strange pride. He remembered what the alien ambassador had said before they left. Humanity's courage borders on madness. You go where reason says no, but someday that madness will be your triumph or your grave. Eli had smiled then. Maybe both, he'd thought. At midnight, a tremor rattled the dome. The walls shuddered. Instruments flickered. Outside, lightning tore across the horizon, revealing something vast moving beneath the surface, an undulating shadow miles wide. Lena's voice came over the comm. "Commander, the planet's magnetic field just changed. It's reacting to us, to our power grid." The team rushed to the windows. Through the swirling storm, they saw fissures open in the ground and then impossibly light. Blue-white veins of energy running like blood through the crust. The planet was not just hostile. It was listening, Eli whispered. "Then let's show it who we are." Outside, Erebus 9 raged. Inside, 50 humans stood their ground beneath the trembling stars. Small, fragile but unyielding. And somewhere, Far across the galaxy, the watching civilizations felt the first whisper of a legend being born. The second dawn on Erebus 9 never came. There was no sunrise, only a dim, flickering glow that bled through the storm clouds, painting the landscape in bruised shades of crimson and ash. The air shimmered with heat one moment, froze the next. It was as if the planet itself couldn't decide what it wanted to be. Commander Eli Vance hadn't slept. The tremors had worsened through the night, and the mysterious energy veins continued to glow faintly beneath the surface. He stood at the main viewport of the command dome, hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Commander," came Lena Maris's voice from behind him, soft but firm. "The soil's composition has altered again. Every hour the mineral balance shifts. It's not random, it's responding to our machinery." Eli turned. "Responding how?" "Like it's trying to understand us," she said, frowning at her datapad. "It's mimicking. The surface closest to our generators is hardening. It's adapting our alloy structures into its own crust." "I've never seen anything like it," Eli exhaled slowly. "So it learns fast," Lena nodded. "Too fast." The storm outside struck the dome with the force of artillery. Sand and metallic dust howled like ancient spirits, scraping against the transparent armor plates. The colony's systems groaned under the pressure. Power flickered, then stabilized again. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly, laying stabilizers, testing filters, calibrating life support nodes. No one complained. No one even asked when they might go home. Because deep down, every person there knew humanity didn't come to visit worlds like this. Humanity came to change them. In the mess hall, young engineer Jonah Reese sat staring at his steaming ration pack. He was only 24, one of the youngest on the mission, and his hands shook from exhaustion. Across from him sat Kara, the pilot, her freckled face smudged with grease. "You're thinking too loud," she said. He smiled weakly. "I was just wondering if we'll live long enough to get used to the smell of burning air." Kara chuckled. "You get used to anything if you decide to." Jonah looked up, uncertain. "You think we really belong here?" Kara leaned back, eyes softening. "Belonging isn't something you find, Jonah. It's something you build. Even on a Hellworld." That night the storm quieted, not stopped but softened like the planet was listening again. Eli gathered the crew in the main hall for a short transmission to the orbiting ship, Odyssey, still circling above as their lifeline. The hollow image flickered to life, showing the pale face of Admiral Corrin, head of the mission's Oversight Council. "Commander Vance," the Admiral began, "we've been reviewing your data. You've confirmed structural anomalies in the planet's crust?" "Yes, sir," Eli replied. "And it's not just geological instability. It's reactionary. The planet is intelligent in a way we don't understand." "Understood," the Admiral said, his expression unreadable. "Proceed with caution. The Conquered has expressed," he hesitated slightly, "concern. Several species have requested that we abandon the mission." Eli's jaw tightened. "With respect, Admiral, humanity doesn't abandon." A small silence hung in the air. Then a faint smile from the Admiral. "I was hoping you'd say that." "Continue, Commander, and may whatever gods you believe in watch over you." The hollow faded. Lena looked at Eli. "Do you think the other species are afraid of this planet? Or of us?" Eli's answer was quiet. "Maybe both." 2 days later, the first accident happened. A seismic shock struck during a construction shift. Jonah and 3 others were securing a dome extension when the ground split open. Metal beams snapped. A flood of glowing dust poured from below, burning through gloves and tools. Jonah fell, screaming as the soil beneath him liquefied. "Kara!" "Grab him!" shouted Lena. Kara dove forward, catching his arm just before he slipped into the glowing fissure. The heat was unbearable. Sparks flew. Her suit alarms blared, warning of hull breach. With a desperate heave, she pulled him free. The moment they rolled clear, the fissure sealed itself, as if the planet had decided it had seen enough. Jonah lay gasping, staring at his gloved hand. The fingertips had melted through, revealing skin untouched. No burns, no pain, just a strange, shimmering dust clinging to him like frost. Lena knelt beside him, scanning rapidly. "That's impossible." "It didn't harm you, it bonded to you." Jonah looked up, eyes wide. "It felt alive." That night the planet was silent again. No tremors, No wind. The glowing veins pulsed faintly beneath the dark ground, in the same rhythm as a heartbeat. Some swore they could feel it through their boots, a slow, steady thrum. Eli stood outside the dome in a reinforced suit, staring into the endless dark. "You wanted to see us," he whispered to the wind. "Well, here we are." A low rumble echoed across the plain, not a quake, not thunder, but a reply. The storm had learned their names. The colony's dawn was marked not by light, but by sound. A deep, rhythmic vibration echoed through the ground, pulsing under the domes and machinery. It wasn't violent. It was measured, deliberate. Erebus 9 was breathing. Commander Eli Vance stood at the central console, watching the seismic readouts spike in perfect intervals. The pattern was so steady, so intentional it felt almost like a heartbeat. Dr. Lena Maris entered quietly, her eyes shadowed from sleepless nights. "I've analyzed the frequency. The pulse synchronizes with our atmospheric processors. When the machines slow, the pulse weakens. When we power up, it strengthens." Eli frowned. "You're saying the planet is syncing with us?" Lena nodded. "It's adapting to our rhythm." Eli's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then it's learning to breathe with us." Outside the dome, the storm had softened to a dull, restless wind. The red sky churned, but the lightning was quieter now, more distant, like the world itself was watching rather than raging. Kara stood beside Jonah near the edge of the main dome, repairing a cracked sensor array. The younger engineer's hand still shimmered faintly from the dust incident days earlier, a subtle glow beneath his skin that pulsed in time with the planet's heartbeat. "Still feel strange?" Kara asked, tightening a bolt. He nodded. "Sometimes it's warm, like something's moving through me but not hurting me." She studied his hand, then glanced at the horizon. "Maybe the planet marked you." Jonah laughed nervously. "Marked me? Like what, some kind of chosen one?" "Don't flatter yourself," she smirked. "Maybe it just wants to understand us, through you." Jonah looked back at the distant storm. "Or maybe it's warning us." In the lab, Lena ran new samples through the analyzer. The readings were impossible, molecular patterns shifting faster than any organic material. The dust from Jonah's suit had merged with human cells, rewriting them temporarily, creating hybrid molecular bonds. Harmless, for now, but eerily cooperative. The substance wanted to connect. When Eli entered, she turned the display toward him. "This isn't contamination, Commander. It's communication. The planet's reacting to our presence, and it's reaching out through biological and mechanical means. It's talking." Eli stared at the screen. "What's it saying?" Lena's voice softened. "That depends. Maybe it's asking who we are, or maybe it's asking why we came." He thought of every alien council that had doubted humanity's right to explore, of the warnings, the fear, the whispered legends that humans went where even gods turned away. He drew a deep breath. Then maybe it's time we answered. The message went out across the colony that evening. A broadcast from Eli, calm and steady despite the fatigue in his eyes. "This planet is aware. We can't treat it like just another project. We're guests here, and if it's listening, we need to speak with respect. Every signal we send, every sound we make, every spark we ignite, it feels it. So from now on, we act like we're being watched. Because we are," no one argued. Humanity had learned long ago that survival sometimes meant humility. As night fell, the colony light shimmered faintly against the dust-filled sky. Jonah stood alone at the edge of the perimeter, staring into the dark expanse. The faint glow from his skin pulsed with the same rhythm as the veins of light beneath the planet's crust. He lifted his hand slowly, and the pulse brightened in response. The ground under his feet trembled, gently, almost curiously. "I can feel you," he whispered. "Are you alive?" The wind answered, a low hum that brushed against his suit like a sigh. Then from far across the plain, the ground split open in silence. Not violently this time, but like a curtain parting. Blue light spilled upward, painting the night with otherworldly brilliance. And within that light, they saw movement. Shapes. Not quite physical, not quite energy. Shifting forms that rippled like water, forming brief silhouettes. Hands, faces, something ancient and sorrowful. Then gone. Jonah stumbled back, calling through his comm. "Commander! You need to see this!" Within moments, Eli and Lena joined him. They stood together, staring at the glowing fissure as the energy pulsed softly. Not random, not chaotic, but rhythmic. Almost melodic, Lena whispered. It's mimicking our speech patterns. The planet wasn't screaming anymore. It was singing. For the next few days, the colony worked in silence, adjusting systems to match the new frequencies. The storms calmed further. The air temperature began to stabilize. Even the radiation readings dipped to survivable levels. It was as if Erebus 9 was making space for them. And yet, beneath the awe, unease lingered. The planet's cooperation felt almost too precise, too eager. That night, Eli recorded a private message to the Odyssey. This world isn't just dangerous, it's conscious. We may be the first to discover a sentient planet, but if that's true, we're also intruding in its body. Every dome we build is a wound. And yet it doesn't fight us anymore. It's adapting to us. I don't know whether that's mercy or a trap. In the distance, a storm began again, slow, low, rumbling like a heartbeat growing restless. And somewhere deep beneath the crust, far below the glowing veins, something vast and ancient stirred, watching the tiny colony that had dared to breathe alongside it. By the 10th day, Erebus 9 no longer roared. It listened. The storms, once monstrous and unending, now circled the colony's perimeter like obedient titans, rumbling but never striking. The sky was still red and furious, but there was rhythm in its violence now, a cadence almost respectful. Commander Eli Vance walked the perimeter at dawn, boots crunching over blackened soil that hissed faintly underfoot. He paused often, scanning the horizon. The glowing veins beneath the surface were stronger now, pulsing in slow waves, their light flowing toward the colony like rivers converging at a heart. Commander, Lena's voice came over the comm, faintly distorted. We're detecting another shift underground, about 3 kilometers east. It's not seismic, it's tonal. Tonal? Eli echoed. Yes, she said. The frequency matches human vocal range. Eli turned toward the distant plain where the stormlight flickered weakly. You mean the planet is speaking again? I mean, Lena said softly, it's calling something. The research team moved quickly. Kara piloted the transport crawler across the desolate expanse, its massive treads leaving molten trails in the shimmering soil. Inside, Lena monitored readings while Jonah sat silently, staring at his faintly glowing hand. The hum beneath the earth had grown stronger since dawn, low and steady, almost like a song heard through the bones. Does it hurt? Kara asked him quietly. No, Jonah said, but it feels like it's thinking through me, like I'm part of its mind. Eli glanced at him in the reflection of the cockpit glass. Don't lose yourself to it, son. Jonah smiled faintly. Maybe that's the only way to understand it. They rode in silence after that, save for the endless hiss of dust against metal. The crawler stopped at a ridge overlooking a canyon, one not on any of their original maps. The ground here was smooth, carved by some force too precise to be erosion, and in the center of the canyon floor lay a structure, not rock, not metal, but something in between. Its surface shimmered like liquid stone. Lena's breath caught. That's not natural. No, Eli agreed. It's a building. Kara frowned. Built by what? Eli didn't answer. He simply stared. The structure was shaped like a vast spiraling shell, layers folding inward endlessly, each glowing with that same eerie blue-white light. It pulsed with the same rhythm as the planet's heartbeats. It was alive. They descended carefully. The closer they came, the louder the hum grew, a chorus of deep tones resonating through the air, vibrating the chest. Jonah stepped forward, his hand trembling. As he neared the shell, his skin glowed brighter. It's responding to me, he said. It knows I'm here. Stay back, Eli ordered. But Jonah couldn't. Something pulled him forward, not by force, but by recognition. He reached out, pressing his hand against the living wall. The moment he touched it, the ground convulsed. A wave of light burst outward from the shell, rippling across the canyon and racing toward the horizon. The earth shuddered. The sky flared white. For an instant, every sensor in the colony spiked off the charts. Then silence. The light faded, and Jonah collapsed. They rushed him back to base. Lena monitored his vitals, her face pale. He's alive, she whispered, but his neural activity is off the scale. The readings look like a conversation. Eli knelt beside him. Jonah, can you hear me? Jonah's lips moved, but the voice that came out wasn't his. It was layered, deep, resonant, and calm, like the echo of mountains speaking. You breathe our air, the voice said. You build on our skin. You awaken us. The room went still. Eli's voice was steady but shaking. Who are you? We are what you call a world, it answered. The memory beneath your feet. The cradle that became a tomb. You woke what was left of us. Lena's hand trembled on the console. You're alive. The planet is alive. Alive. The voice echoed softly, once long ago before the silence. We were many. Now we are one. And you, small children of light, you are the first to speak to us again. Jonah's eyes fluttered open briefly. It's showing me images, he whispered. There were cities here once. Whole civilizations buried under the crust. It remembers them. It was them, Lena gasped. It absorbed them. Their technology, their minds. That's why the planet reacts like a living organism. It's made of them. Eli stood slowly. Then we're standing on the graves of an ancient people. Not graves, the voice said through Jonah. Dreams. We became the dream so we would not die. Hours later, Jonah slept in the medbay, breathing shallow but steady. The hum beneath the colony had quieted again. Not gone, but calmer, as though the planet had exhaled after speaking its truth. Eli stood at the viewport, watching the veins of light drift like rivers under the night soil. Lena joined him silently. It's not just alive, she murmured. It's lonely. Eli didn't look away. Then maybe that's why it hasn't destroyed us. Maybe it remembers what it felt like to be human. Lena frowned. You think it wants us here? No, Eli said softly. I think it wants us to stay, because it wants to remember what life feels like. Outside, the wind rose again, not as a howl, but as a whisper. A whisper that carried through the domes like a song, gentle, sorrowful, and unmistakably alive. The days that followed blurred into a rhythm of awe and unease. Erebus 9 had revealed itself, not merely as a world, but as a being. A consciousness vast and ancient, stitched together from the remnants of civilizations long gone. Humanity had spoken to it through Jonah, and though the voice had fallen silent since, the planet's storms no longer attacked. The air was calmer, the light softer. The winds hummed with quiet curiosity, and yet no one could shake the feeling that the calm was not peace and but preparation. Jonah awoke on the 5th night after his collapse. His skin no longer glowed, though faint blue threads remained under the surface, pulsing gently with his heartbeat. When he opened his eyes, Lena was there, asleep at his bedside, her datapad still glowing with streams of alien data. He touched her shoulder softly. She stirred, blinking. Jonah, you're awake. Her voice cracked between relief and exhaustion. He managed a weak smile. You stayed? I wasn't leaving, she said, brushing away tears she hadn't realized had fallen. You scared us. Jonah looked around, his gaze distant. It showed me everything, Lena. The world beneath the crust. The things that used to live here. What were they? She asked, his voice softened. They were dreamers, like us, builders. They shaped their planet to think, to feel. They called it Ereba, the eternal mind. They wanted to live forever, so they merged with their world. But when their star began to die, their network couldn't save them. The sun consumed them, and the planet remembered. It carried their minds inside itself. It's been alone for millions of years, Lena swallowed hard. So it's not just aware, it's grieving. Jonah nodded slowly. And it doesn't want to die again. That morning, Eli gathered the crew in the main hall. The hum of machinery echoed faintly beneath the planet's slow heartbeat. Listen up, he said, standing at the front, his voice steady but grim. We came here to test humanity's endurance, but now we're part of something larger. This planet isn't just a resource, it's a survivor, maybe the last of its kind. He paused, looking around at the weary but determined faces. We have a choice. We can call for evacuation and leave Erebus 9 to its silence, or we stay. We work with it. Help it live again. A long silence followed. Then Kara spoke from the back, arms crossed. We stay. The galaxy already thinks humans run from nothing. Let's prove them right. A ripple of agreement spread through the room. Jonah raised his hand weakly. It wants us to stay. I can feel it, Eli nodded slowly. Then we stay. But if this planet breathes, we'll breathe with it. If it learns, we'll teach it. If it remembers pain, his voice softened, we'll remind it of hope. For the first time in recorded history, humanity began collaborating with a world itself. The engineers modified the colony's systems, adjusting energy output to align with the planet's natural pulses. The biologists studied the reactive dust, learning how it could reinforce structures and neutralize radiation. Every machine, every dome, every piece of steel began to hum in harmony with the living soil beneath. Within days, the atmosphere stabilized further. Temperatures evened out. The wind's roar turned to a whisper, almost like a lullaby sung to the stars, and yet, the silence between heartbeats grew longer. Lena noticed it first. "Erebus 9's energy waves are weakening," she said, her voice tight with worry. "It's slowing down," Eli frowned. "Why?" "We've given it everything it needs." Jonah, pale and trembling, spoke softly. "It's showing me images again. The sun, it's afraid. It remembers burning." Outside, the horizon flared, a crimson shimmer that danced along the clouds like the reflection of fire. That night, the planet's calm ended. Without warning, the ground convulsed. Domes shook, alarms screamed, and a column of fire erupted from the northern plains. A storm of molten light that pierced the sky. The crew scrambled for cover as the air boiled with heat. "Seismic surge," Kara shouted. "Magnitude 12 and climbing." Lena gripped the console. "It's reliving its death. It's not an attack, it's memory." Eli stared at the raging storm outside, realization dawning like a wound. "It's remembering the super flare that killed its people." Jonah staggered toward the viewport, eyes glowing faintly again. "It's trying to purge the memory, and it's hurting itself." The firestorm drew closer, swallowing the horizon. The entire sky burned, echoing with a deep, sorrowful moan that reverberated through the ground. The planet was crying out, not in rage, but in despair. Eli slammed a fist against the control panel. "We can't let it destroy itself." "Lena, can we sync the stabilizers to its energy field?" She hesitated. "If we match the resonance, we might calm it. But if we're off by a fraction, we'll tear the colony apart." Eli's eyes hardened. "Then let's get it right." They worked through the chaos, Kara piloting the drone arrays into the storm, Lena feeding real-time data to synchronize the frequencies, Jonah whispering broken words as the planet's voice pulsed through him again. Pain, fire, silence, alone. Eli stood at the main control terminal. "We're not leaving you, Ariba. You're not alone anymore." With a final command, he initiated the resonance link. The colony's generators surged, sending waves of synchronized energy deep into the planet's crust. The storm shrieked, then faltered. The flames dimmed. The tremors softened, and at last the sky went still. Outside, the light faded to a soft blue glow, washing over the land like dawn after endless night. Lena fell to her knees, trembling. "It worked." Jonah's voice was faint, almost a whisper. "It's thanking us." Eli looked out at the horizon where the last embers of the storm faded into the calm sky. "Then we'll thank it too," he murmured, "for trusting us." That night, for the first time, the stars shone clearly above Erebus 9. The storms had parted. The sky was vast and endless, a reflection of something reborn. And in the quiet hum beneath their feet, the planet's pulse beat strong once more. For the first time since humanity had arrived, Erebus 9 was calm. The firestorm had passed, leaving scorched plains that glowed faintly in the afterlight of the planet's own heartbeat. The colony hummed with cautious optimism, every dome reinforced and tuned to the new rhythm of the world beneath. And yet, the universe beyond watched silently, intrigued, fearful, and in awe. Commander Eli Vance stood on the observation deck of the central dome, staring at the stars through a thin veil of lingering dust. "Do you think anyone is out there watching?" Lena asked, joining him. Her voice was quiet, tinged with the exhaustion of sleepless nights and endless storms. "Not watching," Eli replied slowly. "Waiting. The galaxy senses something different about this place now, something alive, powerful, and aware." It was Jonah who first noticed the change. The glowing veins beneath Erebus 9's surface began to pulse differently, not only responding to their colony but reaching outward into the void. He traced the light with a trembling hand. "It's calling to them," he whispered. "Other civilizations. They're going to see us," Kara scoffed, though her voice betrayed tension. "Great. Just when I thought we might get a few days of quiet." But Eli's eyes were fixed on the horizon. "If they come." We show them who we are. The human race had never cowered before, not in the face of hostile worlds, supernovae, or alien empires. They had survived everything, and now they were standing on the edge of a revelation no one had ever dreamed possible. A sentient planet, alive and communicating through humans. Within hours, strange signals began to appear on the colony's long-range scanners. Patterns of energy unlike any natural phenomenon rippled through the cosmos, forming faint arcs of light that intersected at precise coordinates. The messages were unmistakable, intelligent, deliberate, and unmistakably aware. Those signals, they're not coming from us, Lena said, eyes wide as she studied the data. They're emanating from the planet itself. Jonah's hand shimmered faintly as he touched the console. It's reaching out, announcing itself. It wants the universe to know it exists. Eli clenched his jaw. And it's using us as its voice. By the third day, small scout vessels from distant civilizations began appearing in the outer orbit. Sleek, angular shapes that glinted faintly against the red sky of Erebus 9. The Concord's representatives had sent a team as well, cautiously hovering at a distance. Their messages crackled with both awe and disbelief. This world is alive, one ambassador transmitted. We've never encountered anything like it. Your species, you have claimed it? Eli stared at the holographic display of the approaching ships. We didn't claim it. We listened. And it chose us to speak for it. Lena shook her head. They'll call us arrogant. Eli's expression was firm. Or courageous. Humanity doesn't wait for permission. The first contact was cautious. Hovering above the colony, alien ships emitted pulses of their own energy, probing the planet's signals. Erebus 9 responded immediately. Ripples of glowing light surged along its surface, forming patterns that moved like fingers, reaching toward the sky. The storms now subdued danced along in time with the pulses. Jonah stood at the edge of the observation deck, whispering softly. It's showing them. It's proud. One alien scout, a sleek, crystalline vessel with shifting geometry, hovered near the colony dome. Its voice, translated by the human comm system, was both curious and wary. You are humans. You speak for a living world. How is this possible? Eli stepped forward. It listened. We listened back. That's how. The alien's reply was long and filled with calculated hesitation. You are remarkable. Your species takes what most flee, perhaps. The universe underestimated you. As night fell, the Concord representatives joined in, hovering above the colony with cautious deference. The blue-white veins of the planet's energy pulsed brighter than ever. For the first time, humans, aliens, and a living world shared the same breath. Eli gazed at the horizon, where the distant stars seemed to lean closer. We've done more than survive here, he murmured. We've made a friend. And the galaxy is noticing. Jonah touched his chest where the planet's energy still hummed within him. It's like everyone can feel it now. Lena's voice trembled slightly. It's beautiful and terrifying. Eli nodded. That's life. That's the universe. And we're human. We don't turn away from the impossible. For the first time, the colony slept without fear. Outside, the wind whispered gently. The glow beneath the surface flickered like a heartbeat in the dark, and the storms watched. No longer a threat, but guardians. Above, alien vessels lingered, witnesses to humanity's audacity. The galaxy had taken notice. A fragile species had walked onto a Class-15 Hellworld, listened to it and been listened to in return, and in the quiet hum beneath their feet, the living planet pulsed, no longer alone and no longer silent. The dawn on Erebus 9 was unlike any other in the galaxy. The red sky had softened into streaks of violet and amber, and the once raging storms now moved like quiet, graceful guardians around the human colony. The veins of glowing light beneath the crust pulsed gently, reflecting a rhythm that matched the human's own heartbeat. The planet had changed, and so had the humans. Commander Eli Vance stood atop the central dome, gazing across the sprawling settlement. Steel and glass rose from the molten plains, tethered to the very ground by conduits of energy that hummed in perfect harmony with the planet. It was a home forged from fire, chaos, and courage. Behind him, the crew gathered silently. Some had bruises and scars from storms past. Some had stayed awake for days, listening to the world beneath them. Yet each face glowed with a quiet pride, a shared understanding. They had survived the impossible and built life where no life should exist. Jonah stepped forward, his faintly glowing hand brushing against the polished surface of a stabilizer. The planet. It's calm now, he murmured. It trusts us. Lena nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. It even waits for us. The energy patterns, the winds. It's not just cooperating. It's learning from us. Eli placed a hand on Jonah's shoulder. That's what humans do. We don't just adapt, we belong. Wherever there's challenge, we rise to meet it. Kara, standing at the edge of the observation deck, smiled faintly. So the galaxies watching. Do they think we're crazy? Eli's eyes flicked to the distant stars, where faint shapes of alien vessels lingered in orbit. They'll call us reckless. They'll call us fools. But the universe doesn't define courage, we do. The alien scouts had lingered for weeks studying the settlement, the synchronized energy pulses, and the living planet itself. Over time, the fear in their transmissions faded, replaced by something else. Wonder. This is unprecedented, one crystalline ambassador admitted. Your species. You walk on fire and make it your home. Eli allowed himself a small smile. That's humanity. We walk on fire, and we bring light. In the evenings, Jonah would feel the pulse beneath his feet and hum softly. The veins of light would respond, shimmering brighter. Sometimes fleeting shapes appeared beneath the soil, remnants of Erebus 9's ancient civilizations, phantoms of memory dancing in rhythm with human song. The planet remembered its past, but it did not mourn alone anymore. Months passed. The colony thrived, domes expanded, fields of engineered flora grew within protective shields, absorbing the planet's strange minerals to create air cleaner and safer than any terraformed world should allow. Children born on Erebus 9 would one day walk under violet skies, breathing air alive with memory and life. But the greatest achievement was not in technology or structures. It was in connection. The humans in Erebus 9 had learned each other's language, not through words but through resonance, rhythm, and trust. Each generator, each pulse, each gentle tremor became a conversation. Humans had made a home in the heart of fire, and the planet had learned to live alongside them. One evening, Eli stood alone on the observation deck. The stars were bright, reflected in the quiet blue-white glow of the veins beneath the soil. The alien ships had started to leave, carrying messages of awe back to the distant corners of the galaxy. The universe had learned that humanity could thrive where others could not, he whispered to the wind. We've walked your fire, Erebus. We've listened to your memory, and we will stay. A low hum answered him, soft, reverent, and warm. The planet pulsed beneath him, the vibration traveling through steel, through boots, through bone, and into his heart. It was the heartbeat of a world alive, and the heartbeat of the humans who had chosen to belong. Jonah joined him, eyes bright with wonder. It's singing tonight, he said. Eli nodded. It's singing because it's not alone, and neither are we. Together they stood in silence, feeling the pulse of a planet and the courage of a species intertwined. The universe beyond might tremble at Erebus 9, but here humans had made their mark. Here they had tamed chaos not by conquest, but by understanding. The living world breathed with them, the stars shone with witness, and humanity had found a home in the most impossible of places. As the violet sky darkened into night, the colony's lights reflected on the calm plains, echoing the soft, steady heartbeat beneath. Erebus 9 had survived countless eons alone. Now it had allies, humans who could endure anything, who could listen and who could turn even a Class-15 Hellworld into a home. The universe trembled no more. It watched in awe, and humanity stood unbowed.